Hi, folks. Well, this is Dave with DPSILTD over here at you tonight with a request fulfilled. We're telling you how to build Hagetaka. Um, I got the okay from Mr. Mark over there at NASAS, and he said I could do this, and I've had a couple requests for this, so we're going to do this for you tonight. Um, Hagetaka is a nice flying plane, pretty basic. Nothing simple to it. I got one here, got a primary example. These do not have anything too special about them, really. I mean, other than the fact that it's a slightly substandard sheet of paper and there's no tape. It's all in the staples. So let's get to this. I have my sheet ready. What you're going to want to do with yours, though, is take any sheet. This is going to be different because this one's actually a notebook sheet of paper. I'm going to try this out here. But the first thing you want to do is actually have your sheet ready and has put in the notes there. What you want to do is you want to cut the thing in its length so that instead of being 8.5 by 11, I was going to say 8 by 11 and a half, an 8.5 by 11, you cut off that inch and a half so it's actually a 7 by 11. It's kind of crucial. But other than that, basic plane. So once you've got it, get your 711, let's go. What you want to do is you want to fold your X in one side of the plane. Doesn't matter which, of course. And as you can tell, starting landscape. Now you want to fold your mountain X. You don't want to fold your traditional, like, bury me X, which only one slant and then on top of the other slant. What you want to do is you want to fold the first one, as I did, unfold it, then fold your second one in. I made a boo-boo on this sheet of paper. I've got a cut here, but I'm just going to work around it. So I don't like to waste paper. Okay. So you fold your second fold. Now you got your X's there. So you got a pouch going on, if you see that. Okay. I'll flip that over so your X fold is on the outside. Trying to get that to cover. You see what it's doing there. Okay, then you fold it. You guys probably did this way back in the day. Fold it upside down to meet your X's down here. Okay. Alright, now what you got is you take it after you've made that, you can fold it in amongst itself. So you have your pocket fold triangle. That thing may mess with me in the long run, but I'm hoping not. Especially because I'm building one out of notebook paper. Again, first time I've done this in a while. Alright, now at this point, you can fold your center crease to give yourself the guideline of where you're going with the rest of the plane. You'll need this. Obviously, use your fingernails. Give it the crease that you need. Try to make sure everything's as even as it possibly can be, of course. If you have to recrease to get them that way, do so. Okay, you're good. You have your little triangle pocket up there. And you have your main wing. Would you stop being ornery? Alright, there you go. Now, go ahead and fold. Keep these triangles out of the way. Go ahead and fold your wing on the inside here. All the way to the keel. So you have a little bit of a delta diamond tip. You will put on your anhedrals. Duplicate that on the other side. This one's tricky, of course, because this one you just have to go with the best of your ability to fold. I could fold it back the other way amongst itself to get this, do it the right way. And in fact, you can do that with Hagetaka. Hagetaka has been reversed. Hope I'm saying that right. Anybody of my Nipponese friends out there, if you wouldn't mind telling me if I said that right. I could Google it later if I don't. Okay, so you got that. Alright, you got the basis of your plane right there. You do want to keep this fold again because if you will notice once you do this, this does start to bubble a little bit. Keep it in check by creasing from the out to the in to make sure all your creases stay firm. And I just bent it. Jeebus. Okay, so you got that there, and you can already start to see it's going to start forming it when you see the old one in place because, again, you have Look, it matches up the length, even the tips. You're going to have your plane here shortly. That's the tricky part, is getting these on here. But okay, so what you can do, what I did with this one anyway, is there's a slant to this fold up here. You're basically just going to take your tips and just fold it past your leading edge to get these down here to form the forward canards out of this triangle that you folded. Do not form the wings yet, it'll throw you off. So what you're doing here is you're taking it near the nose. You want to make sure that the fold is all the way up against the nose here, but you want to make sure that it starts to come out as it goes further down the triangle that you've got, so that it's at this point, at the point where it's actually contacting, it's barely touching. You've only got like about a 1/4 inch touching on the plane. When you get that, mine is being a pain because of that cut. I'm going to get it back though, so. But you see where it's at there. I'll fold it into it once it's done. And again, you see it's a slope. It kind of follows the wing because you're barely putting it on board the wing out here. Take it, flip it over, of course, and duplicate your fold on the other side. As close as you can, obviously. And fingernails, kids. Use your fingernails. I'm going to have to do an added touch. Bear with me because I have that cut. So I got to make that cut blend my body. Like I said, I don't like wasting paper, so I'm not going to do it. And that is important too because, of course, that piece is going to be your winglets, as it were. Now, while you have it like this, of course, give it an anhedral. Nothing too major. I would say about, I don't know. It's kind of dependent on the size of the plane you got, and Hagetaka's worked with about 1 inch and 3/4 of an inch anhedral, so we're going to give this one about 3/4 of an inch. Just something to give it down. And if you want to put it with a little, I actually meant to put it with a little, like you can make it parallel to the body, but you can also make it pointed inwards. Hell, you can make it pointed outwards. And again, if you do so, let me know, because I'd kind of like to see how they work with these different tactics. But you're taking it and you're folding this. I'm going to fold it in a little bit, just because I can. So basically, however you're giving it an anhedral, you don't want it. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Give it an anhedral. If you want it tiny, you want it big, by all means do it, and then let me know how it comes out. But mine's only about 3/4 of an inch down. It's a little bit tricky because I've got the little tips from the canard winglets coming up there, the triangle pocket. All right. Got those in. Okay, that wasn't exactly how I meant it to be, but that's all right, mama. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and date code this thing as my one a day. It's today's bird. Any of y'all tell me what day it is today? I'm going to scroll. I'm cheating. It's the 18th. My pen only likes to write once I've written with it. Bloody hell. Must be something on the paper. Okay, so I coded it. Alright, anyway, so you got that there. Alright. Now, fold your, well, I folded it in. That's what happened. Okay, I was wondering, what the hell is going on? Alright. Now, what you can do with this, once you've got it into this point, because of where you've got these, is, as you saw with the other one, you'll notice with this plane, staple comes in handy. It has 2 staples here right at the leading edge. They are, you can see the leading edge coming in down. They're just inside the leading edge, just to actually hold this all together. They hold the leading edge to this winglet, and then the winglet to the wing on the inside. Because there's the pocket comes in here, it stops. They're overlapping that, and they're overlapping that. Maybe it's only 2 overlaps, but whatever the case may be, what you're trying to do is, if you got that line there, you're trying to get the staple over that, as well as making sure that it just holds it on the piece that's on your underside there, because you're trying to get this piece down as well as the upper piece down. That's why I said it was 3. And don't be shy. This plane has done multiple times, like every Hagetaka ever built so far has had 3 forms of stapling. Bloody hell. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so your outside staples right there, they have to be really close because your leading edge is right lurking back there at only about a half inch. And as you can see, it does overfold, you know, overstaple that line. Okay, got those. And you can put your wings on now because that will hold the bird in place. The wings are typically, SIL style. I got a shallow fuselage for a lot of wing. So, I don't know, give it about a half inch to 3/4 inch wing, something about the same size. It's basically straight down. But again, this is your plane, so, and I'd like to hear what you guys do. So if you tell me that you like gave it a 1 inch fuselage, if you gave it a slanted down, slanted up from the nose to the rudder, by all means, let me know. I'd like to hear about it. But in my case, of course, it's about a 3/4 of an inch. I'll measure it at the end here to make sure that you guys know. That way I'm not cheating you. I'll give you dimensions at the end here, but yours should come out the same as mine if we started out with the same sheet of paper. Okay, so it's folded down. Now, one thing you can do, of course, it does also take a staple in the nose. Doesn't matter how that goes. Don't staple your wings down. Just give it one. Holds it in place. And then the final cut, before you actually fold it back out, make sure you give it your winglets. And these are somewhat sizable and somewhat straightforward. I'm going to give them a little bit of an in angle this time just to see what they do. But of course the key is to not continue to fold back behind the wing, because if you did it my way, you can do it in reverse, but if you did it my way, you won't be able to because the triangle fold is underneath the main wing. So you're only going to be able to take this fold so far. Got it there, got it there. Now you can take this out. It turns out to be a really sizable anhedral. That's not an anhedral. That's a winglet. Turns out to be a sizable winglet. Okay, but then you keep it out, then you kick it on out. Hagetaka seems to like them at about a 90 degree to the plane of the wing. You could use your fingernail to take the sharpness out of the leading edge so it doesn't do the curl, because we had that on the show on IvPAC's channel the other night if you watched it, where we were talking about how you guys might use your fingernails to keep that crease out and then kick your anhedrals out. Because if you make that cut, if you make that fold right there at your leading edge and put an anhedral winglet in it very sharp, you have a tendency of looking at it at the front. It has this curl to it. So when you get to doing it with your fingernail like that, you want to take it back out if you don't want that curl. I kind of like having that curl. I've had that in most of my planes before, but it really doesn't matter. Again, your plane, however you want to do it. And that is it. You have the basis of the Hagetaka. Pretty big anhedral, pretty big winglet. It does look similar to a Nova. This is not how Nova is made. Just an idea. And to, like I said, give you an example, of course, the plane turns out about 7.5 inches long. From the anhedral tips to the nose, it's actually 7 3/4 overall length. If you go from the rudder to the nose, it's 7.5. So the anhedral tips are 1/4 of an inch long. The width from anhedral to anhedral tip is 4 inches. And I said I was going to tell you this so you know exactly. My anhedrals are just over 3/4 of an inch in length. This one's going to be a bit trickier, but fuselage is just over a half inch at the tail, at the rudder, and pretty much the same at the nose, so I kept it straight. Sorry, you couldn't kind of see that, but I'm using the graph here because I have to use the edge. So it's basically, it's just over a half inch. It literally is like about a 1/16 over a half inch at the nose, and almost the same at the tail. There's a slight up incline from nose to rear. So, yeah, the winglets, they're not very big. No, I have a tape measure right here. Let's just make sure you got this. They are, bloody hell, they look to be about a half inch too. So they're a half inch. You're not going to take the time to measure that. Basically, when you're just folding it, just make sure you get the fold so that it meets up where your leading edge of the main wing is. And there's close proximity. They're like a close couple to your anhedrals. on every Hagetaka they turn out that way. This one's got a little bit more distance, but I don't know if you can tell. This one actually had an old fold where the old winglets were. This one seemed to like smaller winglets, just exploring with it. Basically, as long as you've got those folds down, you have the Hagetaka, and get it on out there and get some flying for us. Make one. Tell me how it does. Y'all seem adamant about getting one, so appreciate you coming out, watching that one. Again, I gave an okay to have that one. We have a test fleet of a few of these. You guys would be part of the test fleet if you get some flying, because we don't have very many of these in the Corps right now, so it'd be interesting to tell. NASAS will definitely be interested to hear about it. Make sure you tell it to him on his channel. I'd like to know about it, just so. And if you can, post a video of it. We'll be waiting for it. But in the meantime, there you've got your bird. Thank you very much, and stay tuned. We'll have some more for you. Keep them flying.